Hello everyone, good morning. This is Miraj from CHASSasia. Thank you for spending your morning with us and joining us in this webinar. Okay, today we want to discuss the BCP readiness of how CHASSasia and our customers can benefit from having BCP in this time. So for today, we'll be joined by Ms. Angela Chu, General Manager for Voleer, and she will be the moderator for this event. We'll also be joined by Mr. Yun Taming, my CEO, and Dr. Freddie Lau, who is the Regional Head of IT for Fujifilm Asia Pacific. Okay, so without further ado, Angela, would you take over?
Thank you so much, Miraj. Welcome everyone, to our very first webinar, hosted by CHASSasia. I'm indeed honored, to be invited by CHASS to be the moderator for this morning webinar. And, I would like to, introduce you to our two panelists. First, Dr. Freddie Lau. Dr. Freddie Lau came with a lot of experience in IT. I can see that, he is currently the regional head of IT for Fujifilm Asia Pacific. And before I want to introduce my panelists, right, I actually go to his LinkedIn and check his profile. He has really vast experience from HPE, LVMH, fantastic brands out there. So today he will also take this opportunity to share with us on during this crisis period on how he achieved BCP best practices within the organization that he's in right now. And next, we have Mr. Yun Taming. He is the CEO from CHASSasia. So Taming is the founder of CHASSasia, who has been around in the business for more than 30 years. He was sharing with me that, he founded CHASS until today. He has been, CHASSasia has been through different types of, crisis management, because of the 30 years since the inception of CHASSasia. So Taming will also share with us on, what exactly he has implemented, even way beforehand, well prepared for this crisis before it happens. Right. So, so I guess you're all good with the panelists. Do you want to say hi to our audience right here?
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Here with all of you.
Right. So today, we're going to discuss about, how you execute BCP readiness, in your organization when things started in January. Okay. How do you talk to your employees? How do you ensure that, you use technology to enable your organization? So maybe for the first question, I would like to direct it to Dr. Freddie. Now, Dr. Freddie, maybe you can share with us on how can your BCP practice works for companies like Fujifilm, because you guys are a global company and you operate in different geolocation. Would you be able to share with us? I'm sorry, I think you're on mute, Freddie. Yeah, okay,
So,
yeah.
as Fujifilm is a global MNC, a Japanese MNC, we have a lot of global standards that we adopt to have even authentication platform, secure remote access, and various shared services that we adopt. So over the last couple of years, and I'm in Fujifilm, we actually have did a lot of transformation. Currently, of course, with the help of CHASSasia, at the shortest period, we are able to bring some of our loose ends in place to keep our operation running. So probably later I will share a little bit on the slide that how we actually pose some question together with this group of friends of mine who invited me this session, and it's just keeping as generic as possible. That is a best practice that you can think about. I can learn from you, or you can learn from this process. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so Dr. Freddie, because now that we are on this question on best practices, I would love to see your slides now, if you don't mind, to see what you have actually done for the organization. Yeah.
So can the presenter now
sure.
unshare, then I will share my screen.
Yeah, I think you can just take over by clicking the share button right below the screen.
I can't because the participant is sharing. So maybe Benson, you may unshare, or Nick unshare your screen. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So the audience, you will see that we are all working from different location. Myself, I'm actually dialing in from home. I'm working from home right now. Mr. Tami is in the office, and Dr. Freddy is also dialing in from home. Yeah. Okay, got it. We can see your screen.
So I actually delivered this last Thursday, to my regional team, 11 entities in Asia. So I think it's about time that we have put in a lot of effort to streamline and standardize the operation in terms of security, remote access, and authentication platform. So this is the assessment that Taming and his team that actually have bring together, and I find that it's a very sensible thing to do. So what I did was I actually seek their permission that I want to share this with my region. So when this slide was flashed out to the region, everybody was like, do we have this, do we have that? So from a regional practice itself as a RHQ in Asia. So I post the next slide that actually to help them understand what we have in place today and actually all the hard work they have put in over the last couple of years. So do you have staggered work schedule in place? So we're sharing with them in RHQ. We actually we have split team within the building in different location of building, and also depending on work function, some of them probably suitable to work from home, right? So users able to access email work documents when working remotely. So from our environment, our email are all secured storage through authentication platform, and ERP, business application, and all the rest of the tools we use accessed by remote VPN, so secured back to the office. So third question, we address this, are your staff able to hold video conference call from remote work site? So the Zoom, apparently we are doing this, is a good example. So yes, in corporate, we have a corporate web conferencing tool for internal and external party meeting. So life goes on as we are communicating at this crisis. All right, so all these remote tools become very essential for discussion internally and externally. So on the fourth point, is your essential data backup in offsite location with multiple people who have access? So apparently, we already have a cloud storage. We have uploaded the files to the user, are free to use the unlimited storage in the cloud securely. And of course, there are some corporate essential data. So we still have a form of backup within the building so that we retain some core confidential documents that we do not want to retain outside the office, right, to ensure the PDPA clause are all taken care of. So fifth question, do you have a detailed communication plan to disseminate essential info and updates to the staff? So we design and define a call tree plan. So primitively, handphone, home phone, we call a team and we'll cascade down reporting the status. And of course, we also adopted the SMS broadcast services to broadcast the key corporate messages, activities, so that the staff had the first-hand information. So we didn't use WhatsApp. The reason is WhatsApp is going through mobile data, but SMS is going through the mobile platform itself. So the chances of them getting the message is better than going through a mobile data. So the next set of questions is, do you have contingency plan for if the office needs to be evacuated and disinfected? So of course, apparently Fujifilm has an office building, and we also have a manufacturing plant in Tuas. So we designed it as such that both the network are integrated, and we can activate in case there is evacuation that took place. We can move to either sites. So of course, for general organization, if you have a corporate office here, you may need to subscribe to a hot site or cold site. I'm very sure Taming's team will be able to assist you guys. So number 7, are your sales and other staff who receive office calls from customer able to answer their line remotely? So if you back 6 months ago, we're not able to, but however, we have already installed an IP telephony system that the user can call and receive phone from their extension through their soft phone. So this portion here, any organization, you have a handful of people having notebooks and desktop. But during the crunch time, our desktop user need to work from home. And Chair's team, Taming and his team, Karen, has stepped forward and actually reached out to consolidate in 30, 40s of rental notebook for us to mitigate the crunch and keep our staff mobile and during this period of time. So it is a very effective model that today we are doing because of the platform and because of the service that we provide from a good partner, that we able to bring everything up in about 2 or 3 days time because of the delivery is fast, but we need to image it to our standard corporate images. So communication seamless to our team. So do you have multi-factor authentication enabled for your users login? So our remote VPN already has 2FA turned on, code we send to users email, and validation on credential and through our authentication platform. So they are multi-layer of security assessing remotely. So in terms of tracking what country your users are logging in, so we have turned on the access log from our firewall and authentication platform. So at least we know who's coming in. We do sanity check to ensure that there is no unauthorized access. So the last one is pretty much, are you aware of any account to be breached? So as much as we are doing so good, so far so good, and this is like a report card for the guys that have put in the effort in the 11 entities in Asia, ASEAN, Australia, New Zealand, and India. So right now, our operation in Malaysia, Australia, India, a couple of majority of the companies, entities already able to work from home as per se, right? So the next slide. Are you prepared for security challenges of remote work teams? So our user needs apparently, of course, collaboration, access to IT system, access to files, access to co-worker, in terms also not neglecting the network security. And reducing the security risk of unknown networks, risk of remote login. Do your staff need a VPN? Can you see what country your staff are logging in from? If any of your user account has been hacked. So this set of questions that was generously shared from CHASSasia to me while I was like driving the team into activities. And it does help after that 1 hour session that I had last week with the team in the region. They find that this is something that is very simple, very straightforward, and they appreciate that this set of non-technical questions have been posed to make them rethink whether they're operational ready. So that pretty much is the end of my slide. So any question along the way, please feel free to ask. I'm happy to share. And probably I would like to learn from you. If you have anything that is that you have practiced, that there's no right or wrong. I think it's a learning process altogether.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Freddie. It's indeed a very detailed slides that you have prepared for this webinar. And I'm sure, you know, our audience out there, if you have any questions, right, please post your questions and then we will address it. So maybe turning the question to Mr. Mr. Taming. So I know that, you know, you actually provided the questions to Dr. Freddie's organization so that he can actually do a thorough check on his readiness. Yeah. Can you share with us some insight on how do you derive that set of questions? Yeah. And how do you have your best practices within your organization?
I think the last 2 months when the COVID started happening, ever since we've gone through the SARS and so on, we did realize that this is not going to be easy for a lot of companies. So we have been updating our customer through our Facebook and LinkedIn with all this questionnaire. Not just the marketing, whatever thing it is, but a lot of information that we pump it through. So later on, I'll present one of the things that we send out in beginning of February, when we talk about contingency plan. That is exactly the same thing, but I got to elaborate what we do internally, because in a Facebook we couldn't showcase so many things. But over here right now, we can actually show you basically what we meant by all those questionnaires that we put out in a Facebook and LinkedIn. So
right.
Can I share it right now?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, let me just go through the. Hang on a minute now.
Great, we can see your screen. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, this was actually this icon here. Can you see my mouse?
I think you are okay. I can't see the mouse.
Let me turn on the annotation part of things.
Got it.
Okay,
I
you
think
got
I
it?
saw something. Can you try to write something?
No, basically I just try to point to my picture.
You're
Okay.
not. I guess you're not in presentation mode, right? Yeah. Do you want to be in presentation mode?
I'm in presentation mode right now. Is it not in presentation mode? Hang on. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Are we in the right mode right now?
Yes, I think we are in the right mode. Yeah.
Okay. So
Mm.
can you see my mouse over here?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the picture that we shown in Facebook. So basically, what we did was we shared some information about. Let's see. Okay, about how we support and how internally, because what I believe is that if we cannot support ourselves, there's no way we can support our customer. So today I just going to share about what we do internally, so that hopefully we can share some of these practices that we do with our customer also. For a start, basically what we did was that we actually, for many years, for the last 10 years, actually we have been trying to move a lot of our application where we actually span across a few countries. So basically, with the Malaysia lockdown, it's really a good challenge to us, because basically in Malaysia, I do have an operation of about 50 over people right now. So for the last 5 years, we have been scrubbing to make sure that all our applications can be accessed from Thailand, can be accessed from anywhere else, which we need to virtualize them or transform the application to be a web-based application. So what you see on the screen over here right now, basically is a internal application that we have, which can be accessed through the internet. Okay, so we basically implemented BIOD also about last 5 years ago. With this BIOD, meaning that during this period of time, like what Dr. Freddy highlighted yesterday, just now, that they have to go rental of notebooks and everything else. Luckily, with our BYOD right now, I only have one instruction to everyone: please bring your notebook back home. So all the admin staff, they are actually bring their notebook back home, just in case anybody were to come in contact and they are into quarantine mode, they immediately able to active from home altogether. So with the BIOD, we actually was also able to bring our financial from a CapEx to OpEx based operation, right? So this was one of the big transformation that we have done for the last 5 years. I think a lot of company was trying to figure out some of their window application, how they're going to virtualize it so that they can have a web interface. So because we are all web-based interface, literally today we don't have to stress out our firewall, because our employee actually access through the web through SSL without HTTPS, without having to go through our firewall even. Okay, so this could bring the next level of efficiency, because if we were to stress out our firewall VPN, then end of the day, we also have a single point of failure. Okay, then come to the next slide. This is interesting, like what Dr. Freddy just now highlighted also, with the cloud provisioning and everything else. We had one challenge internally. Actually, I was challenged by security, because with access from Malaysia and so on, I have no idea how the way they forwarded the email, how the way they actually added in information. So basically what we did was we actually making sure that we can have a complete view end-to-end on our cloud-based application. For example, we would actually able to see from our licenses overview so that we know that productivity-wise, who is using the application, who is not. Okay. Secondly, because some of the security threat is coming from the fact that they use their own Hotmail rather than going through our corporate resources. So OneDrive, for example, who actually share out the OneDrive usage level and sharing level. Okay. YAML is an important thing because like right now, like Dr. Freddy was saying that we wanted to broadcast internally some of the news. And in order to make sure that they are working in a company, YAML would actually able for us to broadcast to everyone using the corporate broadcast so that everyone get the same message securely. Okay. Teams effectively is our internal communication collaboration. So later on, I'll show you what it is. And so basically, this report that we actually generated internally, because of this COVID-19, we're actually giving this for free in limited time period, okay, to help you all to manage your Azure, your O365 tenancy, to make sure that you can view who share out information, who actually log in from somewhere. For example, like when we actually go through our report on our own, we discovered that how come there's a US access, but then we discovered that is because Microsoft support came into our environment because of O365 environment. So we're able to actually narrow in to who is the one who logged into our tenancy, check who is the one who forwarded the email to different domain. Okay, so this would be really useful because of that fast provisioning. A lot of time we forgot about the whole security, and you really want to have a one quick view out of all the whole region rather than just have a mailbox level management. So this is also interesting because for the last 10 years, we have transformed our internal application to make sure it's web-based. At the same time, we wanted to make sure that information can be at fingertip. Why do I say information at fingertip today? Because in a situation like this right now, where everyone works from home, can you imagine that we can have a single point of failure by having, for example, the finance person is not at home or really fallen sick, that he couldn't or she couldn't access to the notebook. So every information is actually delivered to everyone from technical to salespeople. They're able to access to their respective information regards to aging, regards to sales quotation, regards to everything else through the BI. So that BI actually stretches across, not only just for making sure that as a management, we can see the information transparently, but it's used for all the staff to make sure that they can acquire their information as and when they need individually, with no dependency of another person in a company. Okay, so this way we're able to see across the cross country also each individual performance, especially during this period of time where we don't even hardly see them. Okay, which is important. So the BI actually, not just a web-based application that they can access, the BI that is providing all the information at everyone's fingertip will enable everyone slice across the purchase, the invoicing, the aging report, the funnel, the pipeline. Okay. So this is where we talk about the teams and collaboration. So basically, we consolidated all our information onto teams so that we share. So question, during this period of time, sometime when we put into our OneDrive, like what I say, if a person would be sick, we have no access to their OneDrive, they forget to share it out. Whereas in the teams, we're able to then look at the whole team. This is the sales team shared folder. We even have the manufacturer shared folder inside our teams, so that we share with external party onto certain information. So with this share, we don't really have to rely on a person to say that, oh, the information is kept in their personal OneDrive, but in a team collaboration, we can immediately take off from the other person when they are not around. Okay. On the other hand, we also utilizes Teams meeting collaboration and phone call. So not only that their phone extension follow them home, because today if you call up their DID, right, they actually will ring in their desktop that they have brought it back. At the same time, all internal meeting also have a team conference meeting right now. So in case where, like, you know, they are sick today, immediately they can dial in to listen to the conference call or to join the conference call with the share. So the collaboration is absolutely key, because without the broadcasting of information, without the collaboration together, you literally cannot join all this piece of information. And without the BI part of things, people don't able to form the whole full picture of an organization. So with this COVID-19, basically we are actually looking at almost 10 years of our planning coming to execution. So I'm a bit luckier than a lot of people working out there. At least I have 30 years of continuously working effort to able to see it through, right? So basically, right now, we are able to secure, besides Dr. Freddy's site, rental of notebooks, we are still having quite a fair bit of notebook that we can secure to rent it out to company who actually needed a notebook to have remote access, to have remote collaboration. Basically, these are all information in our LinkedIn and our Facebook that you can join. Okay, any question?
Yeah, so thank you for such a comprehensive, presentation, Taming. So, when I see that you're presented, right, I can see that CHASSasia is actually a cloud-first company. A lot of the application are actually on cloud. So we do have a question from the audience here, saying that, they actually embrace a system similar to what Taming is sharing. Is it possible to enable staff to work from home without SSL, VPN, etc.? That is the first question. And also, I think this is very important for all of us on the call because of consumerization, how to detect to ensure that they are only using their corporate account to access to the cloud system instead of their personal email. Would you have some insight to these two questions?
Okay, so
yeah,
to answer the first question, where firstly is that you've got to make sure that application has to be web-based, so that you have an options right now, because VPN is a very heavily loaded onto the firewall. And at the same time, VPN has a single point of entry. Whereas if you look at HTTPS, which is web-based, then you can have multiple ways to present this data back to the user and in a secure form. So in a HTTPS, then I utilize my login for my application to check who is the one accessing my data, which is a better way than VPN. And also that, for example, most of the regular staff, if you give them the VPN access, you ended up having to track where did they go in the organization, which part of the file server they have access, or they have downloaded 30 gig of information. Whereas HTTPS, I'm actually giving them access to only their application that they use. So which means that I resolve a layer of security internally to having to check through what sort of thing they are roaming around the whole company. So by giving VPN access, it's almost by giving a staff the key to the office, where they come back midnight and they go through every single room, but you have no idea what it is. Then you have to spend time to look at your CCTV to find out what did they go through in the office, right? The second question is regarding security. So my slide over here, we actually co-developed with Voleer on some of these reports on Azure and on O365 to give our customer, our cloud customer, an overview of their security report, which is important because with all this fast provisioning, I mean, cloud is always about fast provisioning, right? Speed of provisioning and so on. But the question, like, I face is, how do I know what is my Malaysia staff accessing, or do they forward their email and so on? So basically, we are trying to make sure that we're able to go through a review with our customer on a quarterly basis so that they can see what sort of email, what sort of security threats, what sort of usage level that their staff is using. So basically, from a security perspective, you would have a overview of how the pattern of usage. Then you can zoom into how do you educate your user a better usage or better productivity use. I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, so so that means you are already providing, proactively providing all these security reports to the customers. So the audience out there, if you need any security assessment report, or even usage report, please reach out to CHASS. They will be able to give you that sample reports. Okay, so we do have a next question here, and the next is sharing all this information to us. Whenever you want to execute a BCP a project, so what are the BCP vulnerabilities that we can proactively expect, and how do we curb them? So, Dr. Freddie, I know that you have already executed your BCP. Can you share with us, be it whether is it from a technology perspective or even through your employee morale perspective, how do you look at the vulnerabilities and how do you ensure that you don't get into it? You proactively, able to discover it first. Yeah.
So if you look at a typical organization to what Taming have addressed, is a lot of effort, a lot of leadership, and a lot of investment to transform from the conventional application to today what you see in the web. This is the ideal state of an organization. Myself doing cloud with HP in early 2009, doing clouds in Singapore, India, and Japan. So as you can see, if you transform everything into the cloud space, they call me Mr. Cloud back in 2009 in HP. Nobody wants me to do anything because they don't know what I'm doing. 6 months into the job, everybody asks me, Freddie, what is cloud all about? And I tell them, you need to sell the service on top of cloud. Holding hardware, setting up computer rooms in your office, a small data center, it's not the way to go because it'll kill you on your cost. And the resource that you hire, you got to hire 3 or 4 batch of people running around the clock. So adopting the cloud first is ideal. In fact, as we are talking now, today I'm doing a hybrid, transiting from old model that is more static, but transforming into the cloud space. And in an ERP perspective, we use SAP, for example. So it's a heavy investment, and a lot of skill, a lot of talent will have to be retrained and move forward. Adopting to 365 or HANA in future. So these are all the study that the company needs to study. All right. So important thing is it has to be cloud enabled. 5 years ago, when I was in Bridgestone, I transformed the EC 6.0, and there was like 13 countries, everybody running silo. To combine that effort, it's going to take a few years' time, and having to go back to the same mode that you don't have a web version, what Taming have created in this good organization. I think it is something that organizations should consider and to build. But importantly is to get the ROI, the value. The last 13 months in Fujifilm was very old technology, trust me. So old that you never believe. The cables are probably the first generation of Cat5, but now we are up to the latest state of technology we have in place, and promising the organization that today we are building this not for efficiency only. In time of crunch time, you will see the efficiency of the investment of having more robust architecture, cloud applications, secured access, and so on. And that was done like 24 months back when I started this journey with them. And today we are seeing true value. And of course, if you ask me as a technology leader, even when I was in LVMH running 75 companies in Asia with about maybe 2,300 connections sites, we need to move into the kind of journey that Taming has demonstrated. And then we have total cost of ownership and the speed into the market, the speed into building system access in terms of crisis, they can react almost instantly. So that's pretty much my take from an enterprise management point of view.
Right. So, so we do have a few questions coming out from the audience, but before that, maybe I should address one more question to Taming, and before we address the question. So Taming, you know, you have a Singapore office and a Malaysia office, right? And especially now that Malaysia is locked down, which comes out without, you know, there's no notification, it's a very short notice, you know. Can you share with us what is the best way to handle such a crisis? You know, especially when you are in different geolocation, you know, you will be reading news every minute. Yeah. So can you share with us on how do you handle that?
Actually, it was kind of interesting. I was in the office in beginning of the end of February, and I told all the staff saying that you all better go and buy a pack of rice each to stock up. And they were all laughing at me or say, "Are you joking or what?" I say, "No, I'm serious." You know, but jokes aside, with the news coming out and everything else, we had a management meeting like over the conference call, right? Immediately we decided to say that, okay, since the government had this decision, anyway, everyone have to bring back notebook. In reality, is that we got one admin staff that's still using a desktop for some reason, right?
Oh.
Then we took out from the store. Immediately we actually activated a notebook for the person and VPN it out. But out of 50 people with just one person, I think the hit ratio is very high, meaning that our BIOD have effectively come into use. So our decision was really quick. Within that half an hour, we're able to then say that, okay, today that's the end of work. Everyone close up whatever thing. That's it. Work from home the next day. So in fact, I think today some of them is joining in this web seminar also to listen in from home. So we'll be trying to see how we can post a short video of them working from home in our Facebook or LinkedIn later part of the day or later part of the week.
That would be great. Yeah, I'm also looking forward. I actually like your Facebook, your Facebook profile for CHASSasia, so I'm sure I'll be able to see the video. So turning to the questions, you know, panelists, you can actually look at the open questions right now. We do have one question. Does VPN SSL security confirms all connections from the device are encrypted, such as website access, are checked by firewall, whether is it safe to access or not? Yeah, so will the firewall block harmful website if VPN SSL is connected? Yeah, so either of the panelists you would like to take this question. Freddie, you can share from your perspective as an end customer as well. Yeah. You're on mute, Freddie. Dr. Freddie, you're on mute. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. Yeah.
So apparently, if you look at it, HTTPS, SSL is good for application, or you have a very holistic web platform that you have developed, like you can see from CHASS itself, right? But in reality, before you can reach to this ideal state, there is a journey. So the VPN portion allows you to log into multiple access for specific application without changing the way you work, while planning for the transition into the best state of technology access into a cloud space. And very sure Taming will be much more to add on. But to justify to reach that state, for Fujifilm as a MNC, we need to take corporate global directions and also global buy-in to justify. But I'm very, very impressed with CHASSasia with their BYOD policy in place, that the staff are embracing it to put this technology in place that it actually drives. Because not all organization or user mindset are ready for such activity. They want BYOD because they want to connect to the office internet to serve conveniently, right? So having to balance it with the privacy of their activities, and also as a standby BCP or DRP activities that will kick in anytime in a snap of a finger what Taming had done. It boils down not only in investment, the policy and guideline that's driven from the company, the user buy-in, the mindset has to be in place. So my point of view. Taming, any take from that?
Thank you, Freddie. I think basically Let me answer this question also. So for firewall, in terms of blocking harmful website, I think the latest generation of firewall do incorporate things like antivirus onto it, so that they will be interactively checking for vulnerability. So if you go on to check on the latest part of the firewall, actually this will be handled by the firewall itself. Okay, so it depending on how enterprise version of a firewall you have. But generally, most of the firewall today would actually incorporate into a malware kind of things to check their traffic, check their content in going back and forth the firewall. Okay. Secondly, is that what Dr. Ferry says is true, because in order to embark on the full journey, it's a lot of buy-in from everyone. In fact, when I first started, a lot of people were saying that I'm crazy to go on BIOD because it's almost impossible, and we had to make sure that convincing people to get their own notebook, we had to hurdle through a lot of different issues, inclusive of policy, HR policies, and of course technology-wise also, because you need to do virtualization, you need to do certain things to make sure that this notebook can be VIOD, so that information can be separated from their own devices. Okay, so these are our personal experience. Why do we go to that extent? Because we believe that if we're a technology company, we should be able to share our experiences to our customers, because without us going through it ourselves, how do we share it to our customers? Okay, I hand it over to Angela.
Yeah, thank you for the response. Actually, in fact, the reply actually leads us to the other questions. I know that, you have actually partnered with Voleer to come up with some security assessment report. So this question is about, what are the most likely issue, user working from home, any one of us here, that all of a sudden, from a security perspective, they encounter data leak and virus attack. And also, what can IT do to minimize those issues, besides user education on possible phishing scam? So maybe, Tami, you want to share with the audience here on what are the reports from a security angle that you have, like information talking about data breach, etc. Yeah.
Okay, so we provide 3 different ways to manage this cloud-based information today. One of them is an overview of what I call a passive report, where we consolidate a month report to show you who has access, what have they done, and so on, what is the activity going on. The other one is where we report down onto more security, who actually have impersonation email coming in, accessing from anywhere in a different country. For example, you only have Singapore, Malaysia, Asia Pacific, but then how come Europe people are coming in? So that's where we co-develop with Voleer on this reporting. Okay, the third one, which we actually have, is so-called SOC, that we actually proactively look at the data, and once if there is a ransomware and everything else, it will be quarantined and it will be examined. So that program, we actually, unfortunately, we will launch it in later part of this month. We actually will be able to do a proactive SOC, so that we can examine all the information coming in from your Azure and from your O365, so that we can help you to immediately notify you that potentially there is a threat. So that's what we call the proactive management of the cloud-based information. Okay, I hope I answered this question.
Yeah, so it's indeed, anything to do with security, right? It's good to have a practice that you proactively manage the environment, not that when you get, a data breach and then or a malware attack, right? Then you look into your system, because, based on the article that I read, right, in order to find out, in order to resolve a breach to get the service up, it's like almost like 2-3 days. But you want to find out the root cause of the breach, it will take you 197 days to find out the root cause. And this 197 days is indeed a long time, and it can actually allow different hackers to create other issues for your system. Right, we do have a last question, and this question is pretty unique because it's targeted at ERP systems, right? So one of our audience here actually wanted to know whether, whether is it Tami or Dr. Freddy, do you have any ERP system vendors that you can recommend? And how does ERP help them with the cloud system? Yeah, so I know Dr. Freddy, you're already using SAP. which is all of us know that it's a heavy investment. Do you have any comments on this? I think you're on mute.
Adopting any ERP system from an enterprise perspective, it is a journey. It is also an investment. All right. Of course, over time, there are a few big boys that are actually doing ERP. You're going for the smaller ones. Yeah, maybe the volume not too big. You can handle them. But again, when you need to go into a ERP, you should look at the capability enabled with the analytics, the BI. As you can see in this screen itself. Trust me, I designed and implemented in one organization a SOC for Olympic 2020. The dashboard Taming has presented to you. If you want to do it on your as an organization, you basically have to pump in $500,000 into a SIEM, including infrastructure and data. You're screening all the logs, not forgetting the resources. And you need to bring an analytical team, programming, coding, and so on to see this dashboard. So going to an ERP perspective, it depending what are you having today, all right? So if you have not embarked a transition, like what right now we are going to EC 6.0, going to be end of life, end of service by 2025. But I just received news they will extend 2 more years. But we're going to do this 7 years. We need to plan to transit out or move to the next version. But if you are doing something that is unconventional spreadsheet, documents all over the place, it probably is a good time to study what Taming has done and transform. So it cut down your learning curve, and of course the investment will also be reduced heavily, as there are a lot of templates and best practice that already have been designed in place. So going into something what Taming has presented, it's some food for thought. Give it a shot and talk to them and see what they can come up. Taming, for you, let's go.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Freddy. I think basically to me, how does the ERP helps with our cloud system? I think that is the last question that anyone would want to think about. I think the first thing you want to think about is that how does the ERP your end result first? What do you want to achieve out of the ERP? So from the end result, you work backwards to say that whether the cloud can give me fast provisioning of the ERP, give me that security for the ERP or whatever thing, because only with the end result, for example, you want to have your ERP to have all the BI so that, like I say, information at your fingertip, right? When Bill Gates, when he first started his business, he wrote the book about digital system, okay? And he talked about information at your fingertip. If that's what the organization needed, especially during this time when everyone work from home, you don't want to have a single dependency, then you say that this is your vision, this is your dream of how the ERP information can provide. Then you work backwards to say that, okay, in order to provide that, what sort of other thing do you need to do? Because if you put on the cloud, then you can provision faster, quicker, without having to come back office. Anyone else can remotely support it, etc. Then you work out what sort of dependency you need and how do you want it to be. I think that would be the key to consider. So I would strongly urge people to look at what they want as a end result. So normally when I talk to customer, I always ask them, what is the final dream that you want? Let's talk about your dream first. Then we can work backwards in again. I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, so to summarize both panelists' comments is that, basically the most important thing is that it got to be outcome based. You need to know what you want to achieve out from an ERP system. And of course, other investment like resources, like subject matter experts for ERP system, because ERP is indeed a gigantic word that we are talking about. It can be a financial module, it can be a purchasing module, it can be a sales module. So you really need to decide which aspect of the business that you really need help in. Yeah, so data is also very important. You need to make sure you have the right data for you to invest in an ERP system. Because data cleansing needs to come in first, right? Okay, so again, we have a very last question before we end our very first webinar. So I can see that a lot of our audience out here, they are so interested into security. So, there's this question saying that, when users working outside corporate perimeter, meaning at their own time, on their own leisure, what are the key issues that may hit a company system in terms of security? And how do we educate users to avoid them? Yeah. So, Dr. Freddy, you want to share with your experience because you're managing, if I'm not wrong, 11 countries in APAC, Australia, New Zealand, everything. Yeah. So maybe you want to share. Yeah.
Any organization you're in, you're going to have the same challenge. So you start off with endpoint protection, then you enable the DLPs, the data leakage protection tools, of course, antivirus, anti-firewall, and so on. So, of course, defining company group policy that the user still goes to where they're supposed to go, but without breaking the policy the company has set. Pretty much you will be, no doubt, Taming, I mentioned BYOD. Doesn't mean that the staff can do everything, anything. There are certain things like even for our MDM on the mobile devices for our user, we enable them, and we also lock the print screen because we worry that the potential screenshot of the sales number have been distributed. If they are sending through the email, we have a form of tracking like we saw in the dashboard. We're still able to see all the activity that is passing through. So it's actually striking a balance between a science and an art when you implement a policy like this. Security is always a concern. I'm also an appointed DPO, and I went for some training and pretty much certified in this space of personal data protection. Again, how much effort do you want to put in to balance between your personal life and the work, and secure it as such that you will not break the rules and you are operational ready anytime in regular operation or in a BCP situation right now. Just my thoughts to my regional team as much as from a corporate perspective.
Yep. Okay. Taming, do you have anything to add on? Because I know that you have a comprehensive security offerings and services that you have. Yeah, so maybe you want to share on how we can help our customers here.
So for me, I think company information is important, but today in terms of information is so dynamic, which means it's like if you take a picture of a beach, you see the wave coming in, the next wave will be different from this wave. So at any one time, the snapshot of that photograph, it keeps on changing, which means your sales number, sales figure, unless you are into R&D, where your IP is absolutely key that you lock down everything for, because you spend that development, that formula for it. Otherwise, the sales number, everything else is fluid. So I think what's important in the security in a remote user is identity management. You need to have two-form factor so that make sure that that person is really the person accessing, because anybody else today can give the password to their friend for them to access, right? You don't know whether this person really accessing is really Miss Angela or Dr. Freddy. So basically, I think that two-form factor authentication, like most of banks are implementing today, is the future to go, where information needs to be authenticated, the identity of that person, which is the key. I hope I answered that question. I think that's
Just before we wrap up, for the audience today attending this, so I think training, all right, defining your policy, education, before you even put in the investment. I think that will kind of strike a good balance to let them know the importance of keeping an organization as a whole, rather than a company protect the cybersecurity, I can do whatever I want, but mindset to balance off through education. I think that will also play a very important part on developing the right culture to embrace the open world with unforeseen when we will be attacked by cyber terrorists. Right?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Freddy. Thank you so much, Taming. I totally agree, besides the technology that we can use to secure our systems to protect our employees, there's definitely, learnings that we should be, sharing with them, trainings, and even data privacy acts that needs to be made known to all our employees and colleagues. Yeah. So we have come, sorry, yeah, Taming, you have something?
So when just now, Dr. Freddy was saying, which I just remember one thing. When we first started with the first generation of firewall, what we did was that we actually posted the firewall log openly to everyone else, right? With that transparency of information, then everyone in the office would say, hey, do I want to serve Facebook or YouTube or not? because everyone can see the log inside there. Right. So sometimes, just now when I show you all about the OneDrive and the log and everything else, when you post it publicly, like through Yammer and everything else, say this month report, right? People will be aware that you have access to all this information. Then there'll be less challenges to the organization. I think the whole idea is like right now, COVID-19, they are posting to every Singaporean or every Malaysian to say, today you got how many cases and so on. Is try to tell everyone transparency, so that tell everyone to say, hey, if you can avoid crowded places, you can do all this thing to avoid from it. So building that data transparency, security transparency, I think is also part of the key, rather than you build a report that you only view it by IT, where everyone else says, hey, never mind lah, let's do everything that we want. So that, I think, would help from an organization perspective.
Yeah. I'll support that, Tommy. This is what I
Yeah, so you can see that we have very experienced and enthusiastic panelists here. So, Taming shared that he has got reports that can give you the different logs so that you can be transparent with your staff. So please reach out to enquiry@CHASSasia.com, which is on the screen right now, to get a sample of security report, even Teams and Office 365 optimization reports. I'm sure Taming and team will be able to help you. So we do not have any open questions as of now. So we will end our webinar. Thank you, Dr. Freddy. Thank you, Taming, for your time. So look out. Yeah, look out. Please like CHASSasia Facebook, and then look out for the second webinar that we are arranging. Thank you so much, and have a good day. Stay safe. Bye. Bye.